So I understand this is going out to a number of 3D specific websites all over the internet. I'm Ted from Red. We're at the Red booth at NAB 2012, and there's a lot of 4K activity going on and a lot of 3D activity going on, and we sort of live in the center of both of those worlds. So I'm standing next to one of the rigs that you would find very typically on many of the biggest movies in the world now shooting 3D. So this is a Element Technica 3D Atom rig with two epics running here. And this is the kind of rig that they used on the new Spiderman that's coming out in July, Ridley Scott's new Prometheus that comes out in the next month or so, Peter Jackson's The Hobbit that they're shooting in New Zealand, Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby, etc., etc. The new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's, you know, and that's just a small selection. There's a tremendous amount of movies now shooting in 3D with epic cameras, and so that's on the acquisition side, right? So these are 5K sensors, and one of the big deals about shooting 3D with Red is because the images are so large. For those that are interested in some of the technology of how 3D works when you move it into from production to post-production, is you get to choose in post-production where you want your 3D effect to take full advantage. So I know you're shooting this in 3D, so sometimes people want, you know, circus 3D like this, and sometimes people want more what I call naturalistic 3D, where the window of the screen is the window that you look into, right? So you kind of get both ways, and you can choose that in post-production, but you actually have to have files that are big enough in terms of resolution so that you don't actually sacrifice anything in terms of resolution when you make those choices in post. If you shot with other cameras, you have to chop into that image so much that you end up with a very low resolution image. Because these images are so high resolution, you can take these 5K files and basically move them from 5K to 4K, and then choose where you want that depth map to be. So like Underworld is another good example that's shot with a bunch of epic cameras that's already out in theaters, and they made very, very drastic choices in post to where they want their 3D effect to have maximum impact, right? It's a very violent, sort of aggressive movie, and they couldn't do that with really any other camera in the world other than these cameras. This rig, because this matte box is sort of fully tricked out and pushed way out here, it looks kind of bigger than it actually is, but the actual rig itself is very, very small, and the two cameras are very, very small. So what's done on a lot of these big movies now, previously couldn't be done before, even with our previous camera, the Red 1. So Pirates of the Caribbean, the latest Pirates of the Caribbean is a good example of a 3D movie shot with Red 1 cameras, right? The latest crop are all shot with epic cameras because they're half the size. So they can do 3D for Steadicam, for handheld, put them on very lightweight cranes and jib arms and fly them all around. Things that were difficult to do with a rig that was twice as big as this and twice as heavy. Now you're starting to get to a rig that you can actually use and manipulate like a normal 2D camera, and that's what people are really excited about.